everyone. Welcome back to Dunks and Discussions, an NBA podcast. I am your host, Michael Riley. Today, I am joined by my good friend, Cameron Burr. Say hello, Cam.
Hello.
Yes, very well. And as always, we're just going to be talking about the NBA, just guys talking about hoops. That's really all we got for you. I just figured we get started, kind of like last time with the guest. Cameron, I'm going to let you just talk about, I don't know, your experience with the NBA, with basketball, with other sports. This is your time to give an intro.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, honestly, yeah. I'm about the least qualified person to do this podcast, if I'm being honest. I've not followed the NBA since I think my prime. I mean, in the like 2012 to like 2015 range, kind of when I was
prime.
Yeah, that was when I was in my prime of like caring about the NBA, to be honest.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like 11, 13, something like that.
Yeah, no, it was literally around that time I was just like really into 2K, and I was just into just basically keeping up with like every major sport or all of the big, I don't know, the big four, I guess you could say big three, I don't know. I basically, to this day, I'm still pretty much just a MLB fan. I'm a Giants fan. Um, as far as the MLB goes. The NFL, I don't really have a team in, but I do keep up with pretty heavily. I'm just into fantasy, so like into fantasy sports. So I definitely keep up with like the major sports that I do fantasy in. And that's pretty much it. Like the NFL and the MLB has been really the big ones. I do follow college basketball quite a bit. So I know a lot about like basketball, like the game of basketball. I don't really have a team for the NBA too much at the moment. So that's limited the amount of NBA that I watch. But I do know a lot about the game of basketball. I love basketball. I have pretty much my whole life. So I'm definitely pretty passionate about basketball in general. I'm a Gonzaga fan, which I
Go
think
Zags.
go Zags, which will come out a little bit throughout this episode. I think you'll pretty much kind of get that a little bit from like some of the people I want to talk about and whatnot. But that's pretty much where I'm at as far as NBA goes. This year, though, I'm really trying to keep up with it. I know, we are in a fantasy basketball league.
We are.
That I think has made me want to keep up with the NBA a lot more this year. So the attempt is there this year, and part of the reason why I want to do this with you as well. So
Yeah,
that's pretty much it as far as that goes.
yeah. Well, it's good to have you here. Yeah, I think that college basketball, while college basketball and the NBA are both basketball, they're very different types of basketball. The NBA is it's different than most other leagues, honestly, at this point. Just I don't know, for various different reasons. But this is a pretty cool season, I think, to try and watch with the in-season tournament, which we are going to talk about later. It's an interesting, like, new thing. The NBA has never really done something like this, so that'll be pretty cool. Moving on, we both knew that you just said you've never been an NBA fan in the last, I don't know, however many 8-ish years of your life, what have you. So I asked you to give me 3 to 4 players or teams, either or, that you like, that you're excited to watch this season. It was a little open-ended, but I'm going to open the floor up again because everyone knows here that I like the Lakers. I like the Heat.
Yep.
I like LeBron. Everyone knows that by now. But now it's who do you like?
Yeah, absolutely.
Or in the past, I can't remember. I opened it up.
Yeah, no, you left it pretty open. So I have a couple things that I definitely want to talk about. I mean, yeah. So I mean, in the past, if I ever did really care about a team, it was mostly the Trailblazers. We kind of are in the Pacific Northwest, so kind of the most local you can get, pretty much. So I am, I'll be honest, not the best time to be a Portland Trailblazers fan at the moment. So I'm really not super excited about them this year. I'm not really too tapped into the Trailblazers as far as like who I'm going to be keeping up with. But I did just want to mention that because that is kind of where I used to be. as far as like my like being a fan would be concerned. I did also really like the Warriors. My dad is from the Bay Area. I am like a Giants fan. All of the like local like radio station like accounts that I follow, like sports stations that I follow, they cover like the Niners, the Giants, and like the Warriors. That's like the
Hmm.
big NBA team. So I definitely, I love Steph. Like Steph and Clay are like two of my favorite players of all time. It was always just like really fun. It's been really fun like watching that whole dynasty
They
play out.
might not be done. They look good this year.
True. Yeah, I can't, I kind of can't believe it a little bit that it's still happening, but that's definitely you know also kind of where like my peak NBA fan was definitely watching the Warriors as well. But this year is definitely a little different. There's a couple players and like, specifically like a team or two that I'm really excited about. Um First, I mean, would definitely be, I think, the Nuggets. The Nuggets still look so good. They look
They
so.
do.
I mean, what 7-1 right now?
Yeah.
I mean, and that's without Jamal Murray. That's without Jamal Murray. Like, pretty much. I mean, there's what their second best player, right? Like, it's you know, Jokic is Jokic is just like different. I mean, I think that's about the least you could say about him. They just, they lost a couple guys in the offseason, and you were kind of like, well, is that depth, the loss of depth gonna hurt them? And it kind of seems like they reloaded as far as their bench goes. I mean, it kind of, I have to mention it, right? Like I already said that I was gonna, the my Gonzaga fan was gonna see
Yeah.
here. Julian Strother the other night, or I guess that was last night, with 21 points against the Pels, and I mean, some of those points were pretty important points. I mean,
Hmm.
I know there was one that 1 3 he just came up the court and just popped one, and they were only up by like 6 points or something like that, pretty late in the fourth quarter. I mean, that's like a pretty important shot to
Yeah.
momentum.
For
Um,
a rookie in like the seventh, eighth game of the season. Yeah. That's
yeah,
pretty crazy.
Strother, I loved him at Gonzaga. Obviously, I think that he's got that. I mean, he's a shooter. I mean, he's gonna shoot and he's gonna make a lot of shots, and that's a great thing to have coming off the bench for like a team as good as the Nuggets. Just having a guy that's just gonna bang threes, and just kind of score at will when they need him to. Like that's pretty great. And yeah, I don't know. The Nuggets just they look insane right now. I'm really excited to just see how that team plays out. And again, like once Jamal Murray comes back, I mean, Jesus Christ, they're already 7-1 right now. Yeah,
Hmm.
what does the ceiling look like for that team? I mean, we already
I mean,
saw.
I think Jamal was playing to start the year, because he at least was playing
Yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
opening night.
He's what
But
did he like? How long is he supposed to be out for? Like,
I don't know actually.
know he's going to miss some time. So it's like, I don't know. I still think that like they so far without him, they still look great. So
Yeah.
it's, if they can play that well without him, like once he's healthy and once he's back, like I don't know. That to me that is going to be disgusting.
Yeah. Honestly, at this point, it's hard to see. No matter how good any other team looks like, it's hard to look at any team and say, "Oh yeah, they can beat the Nuggets,"
Yeah,
because the Nuggets look that good. They lost some. They lost Jeff Green, lost Bruce Brown, but they're relying on their young guys, and
yeah,
they're all stepping up.
yeah,
And they still have Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray and Michael Porter, Aaron Gordon. They are a very good team, and
100%.
uh, yeah, honestly, they have to be still the favorite to win. Even Celtics, everyone else, they have to be still the favorite. The Nuggets.
I mean, absolutely, absolutely. Um, another guy I just wanted to talk about really quick. He is on my fantasy team. I will throw that out there. That's kind of why I've been like tapped into him, just like seeing what he's been doing recently. I just wanted to give a quick shout out to Desmond Bain. He's on the Grizz right now. The Grizz are not looking great to start the year, like
No, they are not.
to say the least. They are looking pretty rough, to be honest. But I mean, no Jaw, no Brandon Clark right now.
No Steven Adams.
No Steven Adams, no D Rose at the moment. I mean, that's not that big of a deal, but hey, it's
That's still a big deal.
another
He
guy.
played in some crunch time already.
Yeah, I mean, they're missing a lot of guys, and Desmond Bain, to his credit, it's not his fault. I mean, he's averaging 26 points right now, 5 boards, 4 assists, 2 steals. Even, I mean, he's putting up numbers. He's playing his out of his mind, to be honest, right now. In the absence of all those guys, and so it's just some that I'm kind of just interested to see. I mean, he's just from looking at his stats and stuff, he's taking a lot more threes right now than he has been in the past. Again, I think that's probably due to the fact that he's just getting the ball a lot more.
Yeah, he's like the number one without Ja. So
Exactly. And so, I mean, it's just, I don't know, just kind of wanted to give him a quick shout out just because he's kind of been going crazy with that absence of Ja. And it'll just be interesting once they get, Ja back to see kind of, I assume he will have a little bit of a regression, but it'll just be interesting to see down the stretch just how good Desmond Bain is this year, because so far he's playing out of his mind. And just been something that I've been a little tapped into with him being on my fantasy team, so I did want to give him a little shout out.
I think that he is. I mean, he's going to regress, of course, but I think he's going to keep this up for as long as Ja is gone. His numbers last year when Ja didn't play, I'm pretty sure were similar to what he has now. He can score. I don't really like the Grizzlies that much. I don't know, especially last year they've just seemed arrogant and cocky, and they haven't made it past the second round yet. So it doesn't really like mean much to me. And
Mm,
but them being 0-6 and then finally getting a win still surprised me. But Desmond Bain playing good did not surprise me because
100.
he's a very good player. Even though I'm pretty sure he's the player who has a tiny wingspan. Like he's already short and he has like a 5'9" wingspan.
Yeah,
And he's averaging 2 steals a game. So
I know that. I thought I was really surprised to see that 2 steals a game. That's pretty insane. For sure. But yeah, I did just kind of want to mention him, and then kind of last one here, just really quick. I wanted to shout out again my Gonzaga fan. The Gonzaga fan in me is really really showing right now. But I did just kind of want to shout out the Thunder, but specifically Chet right now
yeah, that's
is just,
about who I thought.
oh my god, it's just exciting. It's so
Mm-hmm.
exciting what he's
It
doing.
is.
Um, I mean, you and I, we watched quite a bit of Chet when he was at Gonzaga.
Oh yeah.
We saw his potential. I think a lot of NBA fans maybe just didn't watch a lot of Chet in college, and kind of just, they saw like what he looked like, and they saw, his possible shortcomings, and were kind of just writing him off. I did see, I have seen some people now that he started the year out so good kind of start to come around on him a little bit, or at least just be like, maybe he is for real. But I always saw quite a bit of hate around Chet, and like kind of question marks of like, is he going to actually be able to do anything? And obviously, it's only been a few games so far, but in those games, I mean, he's looked really, really good. I mean, 17 points per game, 8 rebounds per game, like almost three assists per game, 2.4 blocks per game. I mean, obviously the blocks are going to be there. You know,
Mm-hmm.
he could fucking punch a hole through my ceiling and grab something out of my attic right now. Like, he's just a freak of nature. But yeah, I mean, 2.4 blocks per game. He's shooting 55% on the year, and specifically what I really wanted to highlight, he's top. He is number 5 in the NBA in 3-point percentage among players averaging at least 20 minutes per game. Fifth, and this dude is set what 7'3" or some shit. I
Yeah, that's impressive.
Again, punch a hole through my ceiling.
Yeah,
And he's, number 5 in the NBA in 3-point percentage. I mean, he is
it'd be
literally,
close.
yeah. I mean, he could probably get, this, not a super high ceiling, to be fair, but still. I mean,
Yeah.
point being, this dude, he's shooting the lights out of the building right now. Which is something that's just really, really fun to see. I mean, he's 27 for 30 from the charity stripe right now. I mean,
Wow, that's really good.
90% from the free throw. I mean, he is pretty much everything that the Thunder could have wanted and more right now. I mean, a big thing, and I don't want to highlight it too much because I think that Victor Wembanyama is going to be a generational player. I mean, literally, he is going to be the next like big thing. But right now, I mean, Chet is doing basically everything that Wemby is doing, and Chet is like the third option on his team. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? And Wemby,
Yeah.
like pretty much the first option on his team right now, arguably first or second option on his team. So it's like I don't know. I think what Chet is doing right now so far is really impressive. I think people are starting to kind of tap into that and notice it, but I had to mention it. Again, Gonzaga fan. Um, it's been really really fun to watch so far what he's been able to do. And it makes me really excited for the rest of the season to see how that rookie of the year conversation ends up. It'd be really interesting. I think it would shock people. It would really, really shock people if Wemby didn't win it. And I think that
Oh, oh
if
yeah.
Wemby didn't win it, I think Chet's. mm, I think Chet's the other guy. There's a couple other guys, obviously. Brandon Miller maybe in that conversation, a couple other guys, but Chet is right now. I mean, he's looking like he is a shoe in to be top two, top three in that conversation, which is just really good to see. So
Oh
yeah.
yeah. I agree. I have a couple things I want to say about that, but first, yeah, I definitely agree. I'd be surprised if any of the other rookies, like even Scoot, Brandon Miller, I'd be surprised if any of them like it's only been 6 to 8 games for every team, but still I'd be surprised if any of them like plop into the
Yep.
top two of those
Yep.
versus those guys. I think it's going to be a rookie of the year race unless they get hurt. It's going to be Victor Wembanyama versus Chet Holmgren for the rookie of the year race, and it's going to be what it's likely going to be. It's going to be Victor Wembanyama with better numbers but
Mm-hmm.
worse efficiency. Like it's probably going to be exactly how it is right now.
Yep.
Chet Holmgren, slightly worse numbers with better efficiency
Right.
and on a better team.
Yep.
And it'll probably be like a mellow LeBron situation where they're going to give it to Victor, and then
Yep.
years down the line everyone's going to say, I think Chet should have won, but
Yep.
we'll see.
100.
But going back to your point about people in college or people when he was in college, Chet being he not liking him or seeing him, I think another difference is that this is where we talk about how college is so different from NBA, that the way Chet is being used in the NBA is way different than he was used in college. He's being used the same defensively, but on the offense, he I don't know, he did bring the ball up the floor occasionally for Gonzaga, but he'll bring the ball up the floor, like, give a little tween, and then he'll make a move.
Mm-hmm.
That's just not really what you do in college. You're supposed to, like, you can bring the ball up the floor. If you don't have a move to the basket, you need to run an offense.
Yep.
That's just, I don't know if that's just a coaching thing, Mark Few or whatever, but
Yeah.
there's only so much freedom. He can't be
Yeah.
turning around fadeaways, things like that. He's got a lot more freedom in the NBA, and I think that he always had the tools before college, and then he couldn't show them off on the number one team, in the country or whatever they were, top
Mhm.
25 all year.
Yeah.
And then people were like, he's not even that good. He just blocks some shots. Oh, he's tall. Then he gets here and he's good. I
Yeah.
think that's what happens. And I just a lot of NBA fans are casuals. Second thing I want to get to real quick. Second thing is that I have a feeling that there is going to be a Mandela effect down the line, and that people in 10 years are going to be like, wait, Chet and Wemby weren't in the same draft class? Because they went 1 and 2, but they're
100.
in different drafts because he got hurt,
Yep.
but they're going to be in the rookie of the year race. I think that's going to be a Mandela effect. People are going to be like, oh, yeah, I remember that draft. Wemby went 1, Chet went 2, and people are going to be like, no, no.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's,
No, you're so right. You're so right. I know. I've weirdly been seeing a lot of discourse. Granted, I need to stop looking at Instagram comments on like
oh, yeah, they're
those.
awful.
It's just
Awful.
it's the biggest cesspool on the internet. Like one of the biggest cesspool when it comes to sports. It's like one of the biggest cesspools on the internet. But I've seen a lot of like randomly a lot of discourse around like the idea that like if you get hurt in your first year that it should just still count as your rookie year. I know that people talked about that a lot with the Ben Simmons situation when that was a big thing. I don't know. I think that's so stupid. I think it's so stupid. Chet Holmgren didn't see the floor. He never
Yeah.
see the floor in his first year. It just feels unfair to me to kind of knock him like, oh, he had an extra year with like NBA trainers and like doing like being at NBA practices. Like, yeah, but I don't think that's not enough for me at least
No,
to
I
give away
agree.
the eligibility. You know what I mean? I think that's a dumb argument. I think, yeah, I do. I 100% see what you're saying because, yeah, like, I think people kind of probably, at least me, I kind of felt the same way about like the whole Ben Simmons thing. Just because, again, like it was kind of a similar thing where it's like, when you see where he wins Rookie of the Year or like where the Rookie of the Year is, with that player, you think that player's just in that draft class like 100% just by default,
Hmm.
because basically all the other candidates in the race are.
Yeah,
So it's a weird thing. It doesn't happen. I feel like it doesn't happen very often where like a rookie that good is in the next year's rookie race. It kind of pretty much has to be like an injury thing.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
Joel Embiid, Chet, Ben Simmons, Blake Griffin.
Blake
Blake
Griffin.
Griffin was an All-Star his rookie year,
Yep.
and he didn't play. But it was a year after he got drafted. He got drafted, was hurt, then he came back, rookie year,
Hmm.
and was an all-star. But I don't think social media was around, so I don't know what the discourse was like.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
if it had been, people probably would have been like, "This dude's not even that good. He just jumped over a car at the All-Star game. They gave him."
It feels, I feel like that's like the brain of today's NBA fans. I don't know if maybe, again, social media wasn't a thing, but it feels like that is just such like a today's NBA fan thought. You know what I mean? Like, I wonder if there were people back then that were saying that type of thing about Blake Griffin because, yeah, that is such like the type of discourse that happens
Yeah,
nowadays.
it is. And it's pretty annoying, but
Mm-hmm.
I very much agree with you. Your rookie year is, I feel like, the first year that you actually play. If just because you got drafted, didn't like rookie Ricky Rubio, didn't he get drafted and not come back for 3 years? So was he a 3-year veteran?
That's
No,
Yeah, it's you
he was a
you
rookie.
yeah, you can't make that argument.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, just Chet. I wanted to mention Chet and like the Thunder just look exciting. Even if if the Thunder don't make the playoffs, I think that will be a letdown. But
I agree.
I think that if they do make the playoffs, I think that's just going to be a really exciting team to watch play basketball. I mean, they're young, they're fun to watch. They got some really cool players on their team. I love like Josh Giddey is great. Um, Williams is awesome again. Hey, some WCC representation.
Yeah, he's
Uh,
really good.
yeah, just a cool team. Just a really really cool
They
team. So I'm
are. They're really cool.
very excited for them.
I want them in the playoffs really bad.
Oh yeah. Oh,
It's really hard. The West has like 11 in my mind, maybe 12 pretty good teams, and I only 8 of them can make playoffs. Only 10 of them can make the play-in. So
yeah.
it's crazy. And right now, I would not have included them as the team missing it. Like saying, let's say, assuming there's 11 and only 10 make the play-in spots, I would not assume this team would be the 11. But it's kind of looking like the Memphis Grizzlies are going to be that 11 if they
Hmm.
don't
Hmm.
fix things quick.
Yeah.
Because it took the Lakers were 2-10 last year. It took them till March to get to 500. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
So could be a long season for Memphis
I mean, it's hard to
unless they go on a
control.
6-game winning streak or something.
It really is. It's hard when you start the year that badly. I mean, not only just from, a numbers point of view, like having to climb out of that hole, but it's also like, I mean, I would have to imagine it's a mental thing. You start
Yeah,
out 0-6, I cannot imagine that locker room is like having a great time with that. You know what I mean? Especially a team like the Grizzlies, where you were mentioning it. Last year they're very cocky, a lot of personalities in that locker room. I can just imagine that is probably not going over super well. So I mean, they got their first win. You hope that eventually leads to more. But yeah,
they're
it's not
they're still not the most dysfunctional locker room in the NBA because they are not the Chicago Bulls.
exactly. Yep. Yeah.
It's been talked to death, but they had a players only meeting after the first
For the
game.
first game, yeah.
First game. they're not good. They're like I think it was Zach LaVine said he was like, we have 3 All-Stars. We're supposed to be, like we need to be good. It's like, yeah, but you just won't be. I'm sorry. They're just not
Yeah,
as
no.
good as the rest of the teams.
I mean,
Um, it's
um,
unfortunate.
I mean, it's it takes a special kind of game for a player to score 51 points and to lose by 17. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
not good. That's not good. And even from his point of view, 51 points. How much you have to touch the ball to score 51 points, and he didn't have a single assist. How much you have to have the ball in your hands to score 51 points and not a single time find somebody
yeah,
for a bucket. It's
yeah.
just, yeah, the Bulls.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a Bulls hater or anything. It's just they looked good for the first, I don't know, 25 games that they traded for DeMar and they had Lonzo playing. And then it gave Bulls fans like such immense hope. Like they weren't just good, they were the 1 seed, I think, through 20 something games.
Mhm.
And then I think Lonzo got hurt and then they slipped. They fell to 6, lost to the Bucks in the first round. Obviously weren't that good the last few years. Yeah, they just have not been as good.
No, no.
Yeah, I don't see it, but um, yeah, and that's enough about dysfunctional locker rooms. Any other just like random early season thoughts? Any other teams you want to talk about before we go into like a couple other topics?
I mean,
Specific topics I already had.
that's pretty much. Hey, I don't know. Are there any other Gonzaga players that got drafted last year? Let's think about this for a
I
second.
mean, there's just more you could talk about. What do you think about Jalen Suggs? What do you think about
And Jalen Suggs. Okay, Jalen Suggs. I will actually say Jalen Suggs is looking pretty good to start the year. He's
Yeah,
looking pretty good. The
he's looking
Magic.
better, I think, than the last few years. His first
Yeah,
2.
yeah. I mean, I think that he. I feel like people don't talk about enough. I feel like the big thing that people like to talk about is when a player comes into the league and is immediately great. I think it's really cool to see a player come into the league, maybe not have a great start, and just kind of slowly progress. And you've kind of just seen that progression. And I think that that's exactly what it is with Jalen Suggs. I think that just every game that he plays, I feel like he's just getting better. And I think it's showing at the beginning of this year. Maybe not necessarily in the stats. I think I would think that maybe the stats are looking a little bit better. But for sure, I mean, he's just doing more, I think, and I think that they're relying on him a little bit more. The Magic are, and I think that he's doing really good in the time that he's playing. I mean, I think he's playing really really well. And I don't know. I mean, I know at least also too in our fantasy league, he's already gotten picked up and dropped a couple times. I mean, he's getting thrown
Yeah,
around. He's worthy of being owned right now in fantasy. That's something that I would not have thought going into the.
yeah. So I'm looking at Suggs' numbers now. Yeah, they're pretty similar to last year. And his I really thought his shooting numbers were better. They are not.
Oh,
But they do still trust him. And
mm,
he was in the game, the Lakers game, got a chance at a game winner, missed it. He gives his all on every possession. I'm a little worried. Well, I can't say worried. I don't know. It's just when a guy that goes to your favorite college gets drafted top 5, you expect him. You're like, oh, he's gonna be like an all-star. He still could.
mm-hmm,
It's looking more like he might fill a Marcus Smart role on this
mm-hmm,
Orlando Magic.
little
Rather than being like, I don't know, like the Kyrie Irving or something. Like he's more of going to be like a glue guy, defensive guy. Paolo's going to be their number 1 guy. Franz Wagner is going to be their guy.
right,
It's just kind of how it's worked out.
right,
Cole Anthony is another guard who kind of scores a lot better than Suggs.
yeah,
So it's just his role is going to be potentially not allowing him to like elevate to superstardom, but
mm-hmm. No,
we'll
100%.
see.
100%. And honestly, though, the Magic is kind of a similar team for me to the Thunder
Oh yeah,
in the
East
sense
Coast Thunder for sure.
they're young. They got a lot of young guys, and they're just really just really fun team to watch. Like fun team to watch. Like when they're clicking, like they're really fun to watch. Um, just again, some like Paolo and Franz Wagner and all of them. Like I don't know. I feel like it's just going to be uh I don't know. I think if all of them progress really well and some of the older players start to phase out in the NBA, I mean, I think that they eventually could be pretty good. They get another draft pick, if they're not doing so hot, like I think that they could end up being really good like very soon.
Oh,
But
I think they have a very good shot at playoffs this year.
100%.
Definite playing. They almost no, not really, but they like in the standings wise kind of got close to playing last year. It never really got that close for them, but because they had such a bad start, but they started playing better at the end of the year, got a little closer to that like 11 or 12 seed rather than the 14 or whatever.
Right.
This year I think they have a very good shot of at least being top 10. I'd be surprised if they aren't at least 7, 8, 9, or 10.
Yeah,
If they're 11 or lower, that would kind of shock me if they didn't have injuries, because I think they're better than at least 5 Eastern Conference teams.
100%. 100%.
Yeah. Um. All right. Well, I'd say let's move on to a pretty big topic. James Harden got traded to the Los Angeles Clippers. I don't know the full breakdown on the trade. It was something along the lines of James Harden, PJ Tucker, and I think Philip Petrusev from
Hey,
Gonzaga.
we're getting
Uh,
these Gonzaga mentions.
got to talk about everyone. They got traded to the Clippers, and the Sixers got, I believe, Robert Covington, Nick Batum, one of the Morris brothers,
Marcus Morris.
and maybe another person, someone else. I can't remember, but something along those lines. The Thunder got in there, got some pick or something.
Mm-hmm.
Not as important, but it did happen.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and the Los Angeles Clippers have now played a basketball game that so we can now at least look at the breakdown of that.
Mm-hmm.
I will be honest, I have not actually even watched the film of that game, but I looked and I saw they lost to the Knicks. And the Knicks aren't a bad team, but I'm pretty sure Jalen Brunson didn't even have a good game. So they lost to Julius Randle.
Yeah,
And
they did.
now that's different.
That is different.
All of their stars look, numbers wise at least, not that great. None of them, they're all like below 20 in the double digits, but just not looking that great. They didn't even stick that close to the Knicks. Again, didn't watch the film, so I don't have any way to break it down from that. But just from narrative wise, looking at the numbers, it's about what maybe you would have expected from the first game. They really need to figure it out. You have 4 at one time MVP level players on the same team, all past their prime now, and now they need to figure out how to make that work to still be a contender. And I don't know. I saw this coming for a long time. I just didn't think any other team wanted James Harden besides the Clippers. I just didn't see another home for him. There were talks of the Heat. I didn't want that. I didn't see another team trading for him, and I knew he was not going to stay in Philadelphia. He said the whole summer was such a fiasco. I don't know what you know about it, but he called Daryl Morey a liar. From my understanding, I think Daryl Morey told him to like not opt into his like extension, or like that they'll get him paid, but then they didn't get him paid. So he's like, oh, he's a liar. Now they want to trade me. I don't know. It was some whole weird thing. But James Harden, it's hard to give him benefit of the doubt because he's kind of forced himself off of the Rockets and Nets since 2021 already. And he's a good player, but since he's been on the Rockets, really hasn't been the same player at all.
No.
Really, at all. Like last year, he was really good. Even though he wasn't an all-star, he led the league in assists. I thought he was really good last year. Full season in Philadelphia. Thought he found a home. Now he's on the Clippers. I think they can be scary. I think they're not yet. I'll let you give your thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, James Harden's a weird one for me. I just feel like James Harden, you kind of think that eventually you're going to be like, well, he's been on all these teams. It kind of seems like there's always drama. Drama kind of just follows him. I think it's just pretty clear at this point. I feel like James Harden is the problem. I feel like it's never the team around him. I feel like it's not the organization that he's with. You know, I'm not saying that he's not playing well. I'm just saying that all this drama that follows him and stuff, I mean, it's clearly him. It's clearly him. It feels like he's never happy wherever he's at. He's been on some good teams. You know what I mean? Obviously, he's never necessarily like gotten it done. But I don't, not every player in the NBA is going to win a ring. And it seems like
That is true.
he gives it about one try at a ring, and if it doesn't happen, he's immediately pissed. And it's like that. It just feels like he doesn't have the patience to build chemistry with a team. It feels like no matter where he is, he's not happy. So it'll be a matter of you know, do the Clippers win a chip this year? If not, is he all of a sudden going to be pissed again? Is he going to start, you know, not wanting to put in as much effort? And the whole thing is going to start again. You never know. And I mean, how old is he now? I mean, he's already
Wrong side of 30. He's
the
like
wrong
probably
side
like
of.
33 or 34.
That's what I'm saying. So it's just like it just seems like again he just doesn't have the patience to kind of
Did
stick with
did
us.
you see what Kevin Garnett said about it?
I believe I did not. Do you want
Kevin
to?
Garnett, I think he has his own podcast or show. He was talking about it, and he was talking about James Harden. He was like, and when you're in the NBA and you're like a star, you only get so many wiggles. You don't get infinite wiggles. They run out, and I think he has run out. I think this was his last one, unless
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, if he plays well, they make a conference finals, and he's the reason why, but he still throws a fit. That's the only scenario I see. Like he throws a fit and wants out. They like make the
Yep.
conference finals and then lose to the Nuggets, but he's like, no, I hate LA. I want to go to literally anywhere else. That's the only way he could maybe have value because he'd be the best of those four guys. I just
Right.
don't think it's going to happen. I think Kawhi is still their best player. I think they're going to probably keep going through Paul George as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I just don't think there's really a way James Harden's numbers, they'll be most likely similar to last year. And we've already seen there wasn't that much of a need for him from other teams this year. They didn't want to get, or at least they didn't want to give up what Daryl Morey wanted. So
Exactly.
his wiggles are probably out. He needs to understand that if he might be a little too old to continue to be the MVP James Harden, and he can't just keep doing this. I understand, even if everything that happened with Philadelphia wasn't his fault. Let's just assume
Mm-hmm.
Brooklyn and Houston was still his fault. He still wore a fat suit in Houston to
Yep.
get traded.
Yep.
So I mean that did still happen. There's been things that are his fault. So you even assuming the whole last team was not his undoing, he did the two before that.
100%.
And yeah, you can't just rewrite that legacy just by saying, "Oh, well, it was Daryl Morey." I'm sure it was,
Yeah.
but you did great things with him in Houston. So it's just like it's all weird. And he's just not the MVP anymore. He just
No,
clearly isn't.
no, he's not good enough to make up for the baggage that he comes with for any
Not
team.
anymore.
Not anymore. He used to be.
Like potentially, he can be, but
Yeah.
he's only been just good enough. I'd say he
Yeah.
was like 22-11, which is good, really good
Yeah.
last year. I'm not going to act like that isn't
Yeah.
good, but I
No.
agree with you.
No, I mean, I think he's gotten to the point again, like you said, the Clippers were kind of the place that you could see for him going.
Mm-hmm.
After that, I don't think there's anywhere else for him to go. I really don't.
Yeah. At that
So,
point, it's going to be like vet minimums, and like
yeah,
he would need to give up his ego and go to the Lakers or like some random team that just like doesn't have any money but wants to take a swing on him,
exactly. And it's like
or like
track
Charlotte. But
exactly.
like, yeah, why would he go to Charlotte?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. I just feel like track record shows that he's not going to be able to drop that ego. And if that's the case, I mean, if he gets pissed this year, all of a sudden it's like, dude, I think you're out. Like you said, you're out of wiggles. You're out of options, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Like you've exercised all of your options. So
Yeah, I'm very interested to see what it does because it takes away Westbrook's primary role. Like he is kind of here to do what Westbrook was already doing.
Mm,
So now Westbrook is in this, I don't know, just like blob of a. I don't know what they're going to do with him, and then that could just turn into a Lakers 2.0 where you kind of just have this guy with an endless motor, but he can't really shoot, so he's like always kind of like amped up, but then he'll miss some layups because he's so amped up, and uh turn the ball over. But when you have him at his best, he's really good. But how do you use him at his best when you already have James Harden, who needs the ball to be effective, and
yeah.
then you have Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, who both also kind of need the ball to be effective. They are pretty both good spot up shooters, though. But I don't know how much either of them move without the ball. So I still think the Clippers are going to make playoffs. I think
Mhm.
they're not in danger of that. Honestly, even though James Harden isn't necessarily not injury prone, I think they now, with just that many stars, I feel even more comfortable about them, even with injuries, making and getting a decent playoff
100%.
seeding, because they could lose Paul George and Kawhi, and you still have Westbrook and Harden. It's like, oh, okay, well, they could do something. Hopefully, they're older, but they could get us there. But I don't know. That was just a rant. I didn't have a whole lot to say about the Clippers. I just feel like I needed to talk about James Harden, just talk it out. You know,
100%.
I had
100%.
no real point. I just wanted to talk it out.
Absolutely.
Um, yeah. Well, if we don't have anything else to say about that, next thing I wanted to talk about was the Minnesota Timberwolves. Surprisingly enough, yeah. I don't know if anyone knows.
T-Wolves, baby. Shout out to Nick
They
Henny. Shout out to Nick Henny, our
shout
resident
out Nick Henny.
T-Wolves fan. Hey,
Yeah,
go T-Wolves. Go Ant. Go Cat. Maybe. Go Cat. Hey.
yeah. I mean, yeah. I mostly wanted to bring them up because of Ant. They just beat the Boston Celtics, who have looked uh very good since getting Kristaps Porzingis and Drew Holiday. They are still one of the best teams in the NBA. And the Timberwolves had the Celtics come into their home arena, and they defended home court, and they beat them in overtime, and Ant took over. And yeah, again, when it comes, I don't necessarily have a whole lot to say about the Timberwolves, but I am not a believer in this team. I'll just say that right now. Like, I am not high on them. I did not expect them to make playoffs. I still don't really think they'll be that good this year. And it has nothing to do with Anthony Edwards and has pretty much solely to do with the fact that I just don't know how Cat and Rudy Gobert together are going to be able to win you enough games. I just think Rudy Gobert is now getting older, but this game and watching Anthony Edwards take over is kind of showing me that, maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe he is so good that it really doesn't matter who's around him. And if he can have Cat playing well, they'll make playoffs. Like he was a number one pick, and he wants to be the greatest of all time, and he has that mindset. But I just didn't see it, and now they just be the best team in the NBA, and I would have never given him a real shot. But yeah, Anthony Edwards is amazing.
No, he is insane. I mean, he really is different. I think that it's one of those things where, I mean, everybody that is a fan of the NBA knows that he's really good, and they've watched maybe him play a game or two. If the T Wolves somehow get a primetime game or something on ESPN, they watch him play. They see that he plays out of his mind. Maybe they see his stats at the end of the year, but he really is like unbelievable. He is one of the best players in the NBA. And I really don't think that enough people kind of will acknowledge just how good he is. I mean, he is unreal. He is one of the players of this generation. He is, gonna be, one of those players. When in the last generation, when you talk about LeBron and you start going down that list, I mean, you don't get very far down that list in this generation. I think with Anthony Edwards, I really don't think he's that far down that list.
Oh, I very much agree. It's like, yeah, 2020s are gonna be about him.
Yeah,
Who else, like Tatum,
Tatum,
other
yeah.
guys. I don't know. I don't know. I don't even know who else. Like maybe Wembenyama, obviously, like these types of guys. But Anthony Edwards, he's going to be up there. He really is. He's like I'm not saying that. I don't know. I feel weird saying he's like comparing him to these guys because then people are like, don't compare him. He's not
Right.
that good yet. But like he's like Kobe good. He's like Kevin Durant good. He
Hmm.
is like LeBron good. He's so young and he can take over games and be if as long as he's the best player on the floor, it really doesn't matter who the hell else is on the floor. He can just dribble the ball down the floor and huck up a shot. Yeah, I still don't know what I think about the Timberwolves. I don't think I would necessarily still predict them to make the playoffs, but I guess it wouldn't surprise me as much now because I would know how much of a carry job it would just be Anthony Edwards. I think maybe this is the year it's really becoming his team and not Cat's team and not even like a combination of the two. I mean, we'll see. I don't know. I mean, I'm basing this off of the one game I've actually cared about from them this year, which was the Celtics game. But I think it's going to be his team now. He is that guy. It's his third or fourth year. He is that guy. He's an all-star.
100%.
He's going to be like a 10-time all-star.
Oh yeah. I mean, he is. I mean, when you're talking about guys that are under 25, it's like it's Luka Doncic and it's him. That's like guys under 25. Those are like it's Luka Doncic, it's him, and then you can start going down the list. But I mean, he is so young and he's already this good. I mean, he's not even, you could say that he's at the beginning of his prime.
I'm glad you brought this up actually, because I'm pretty sure today NBA dropped a top 25 an NBA 25 under 25.
Really?
So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm just gonna go look at it. And
No, I mean, I really do think. I think that it's got to be. I mean, I think it's Luka and it's him. I mean,
dang it, I can't read it because you need ESPN Plus. That is ridiculous.
and the subscriptions, man. Come on.
Yeah, let me go. Sports Illustrated posted it, so maybe they have it without needing it.
Nah, you need a Sports Illustrated subscription.
I mean, you're probably right, but
The
I think I'm on like. I don't know what I'm doing now. I really wanted to see it. I saw an Instagram post about it, but now I don't have it. Oh well. Yeah, I'm sure you're right. I'm sure it's like Luka Doncic and then Anthony Edwards up there. I can't remember who else is under 25. I know Victor Wembanyama was like number 3 on it, which is pretty high. Like Zion was number 7.
He has played like 7 games of basketball.
I mean, Chet was number 16.
That's and hey,
or something like that.
That's fair. I just like I feel like you're gonna put you're gonna put Wemby over guys like LaMelo. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah, he was above him.
Good in the NBA for a few years. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Is Trae Young under 25? He might actually be 25 now.
I think he's probably older now.
He's probably older now, huh? I mean, what? Like Ja? I think Ja's still under 25.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can say that Wemby at this exact moment is better than somebody like Ja or, I mean, even like Darius Garland. You know what I'm saying? Let's throw Darius Garland's name in there. Darius Garland is a dog, and I think he's under 25. Like, you know what I'm saying? I don't know. I don't know about 3 for Wemby quite yet, but I mean, I think if we're going off potential, absolutely.
Yeah, well, I think that's pretty much why they put him there.
So yeah, I mean, there is that. But I don't know. Personally, I don't know. But Anthony Edwards, point being, he's different. He really is different.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, I think if he stays in Minnesota, I'm sure they want him. I don't think I just don't think they're at his window for a championship has not opened yet, and I think that's okay. I think he is young, and he might have a good co-star with Cat. I think he'll be getting a new one probably soon. I think Cat's going to be out of Minnesota in the next year or two, just because they're going to look at it. The management's going to look at it, and they're going to realize that, look, we traded for Rudy Gobert. We still need to make other moves. We need to either try and get rid of him, get rid of Cat, whenever Anthony Edwards extension or like expiration of his contract comes up, they need to be ready and have a team be like, no, stay here. You're
Yeah,
gonna win here. Otherwise, he's gonna leave because
100%.
he wants to win, and I think they'll do that. And I think Cat will probably have a new home by 2025. We'll see. Unless they do really good this year and shut me up, and they're like a 4 seed and win a
Crazy. That would
playoff
be insane.
series. I would be shocked if they won a playoff series this year. I would be shocked, and it would
Yeah,
be because of Anthony Edwards, and then I would just need to learn to not be surprised by him. But for now, it
100%.
would surprise me.
Definitely.
Well, the last thing I have on the docket is, no, where were they coworkers this week? I was a little lazy and unfortunately didn't have them ready. Sorry, everyone.
No. Hey, you're gonna have to
Yeah,
have me back on like a while from now.
I will.
With
Don't worry. You'll get your chance. You'll get your
yeah,
chance.
I
But
have
the last thing I want to talk about is I want to talk about the NBA in-season tournament. A lot of people have talked about it. A lot of people are wondering about it, confused about it, hype about it, sad about it, angry about it, even more stuff.
yeah.
All the emotions about it.
What that's my question. And
What is it?
I think it's telling. I know I saw the clip the other day. I don't remember who it was, but I think it was somebody. It was a player for maybe the Clippers or something like that. I can't
Oh,
remember.
Bones Highland.
Yeah, Bones Highland, and he was just like, "Dude, I don't even know. I don't even know what it is. I'm playing in it, and I have no idea. I'm just showing up to the games."
Yeah, players keep saying that. Dame said the same thing too. He was like, I don't know if anyone knows what's going on. It's like it's not that confusing.
It's not.
Okay.
I just
Do you
think that
understand? Let me go through it. Not just for you, but
yeah,
for everyone.
yeah.
The
Go through.
way, at least to my understanding, the way it works is all 30 teams are placed into 6 groups of 5.
Hmm.
Still, I'm pretty sure. I don't have the groups in front of me. I think they might still be based on conferences. Um, but then so over the course of November, you're going to play. I believe it's just 4 games, one against each team in your group.
Right.
And so then the 8, I assume it's going to be the 6 teams that have the best record in each group. I don't know what the tiebreakers are. It's probably head to head, then points, something
Right.
along those lines. Either way, the top 8 then at the end of that go to Vegas, and they will
Right.
play in a single elimination tournament until there's a winner.
Right.
So that's pretty much how it works. You know what? If I can pull them up quickly, I'll try and look it up right now. In season tournament, groups. Previewing all 6 groups. Yes, they are still based. It's West Group A, West Group B, West Group C, East Group
Right.
A, East Group B, East Group C. The first group of games just happened this past Friday, about 5 days ago, 6 days ago now. 4 days ago. There'll be more this Friday, and then I think they will start being Tuesday, Friday, in order
Right.
to have enough, because not every team plays in every one. So and then they made these courts for every team. Every team got a custom court for the in-season tournaments. A lot of them are ridiculous. I
They
at first when I saw them, I was actually like, when I saw the concept art for them, I thought this is cool. Then when I
yeah.
saw them live on TV, I thought, okay, these maybe aren't as cool.
No.
Some of them are
No.
pretty cool. I liked the Bucks because it was still
Yeah.
looked like the hardwood for the
Yep.
most part.
Yep.
The Thunder had a bright blue floor, and it's just a lot. It's just kind of hard because they're already wearing jerseys that are the same color
Yeah.
as the floor. So
Yep.
it's like, why did you need to do that?
It's ugly. No, I honestly, I think it's ugly. I like the idea though. I'm not gonna diss.
NBA got ugly this year. The jerseys
Yeah.
are ugly, the courts are ugly. But like 5 years ago, they were doing everything. I feel like 5 years ago, when they did the courts were always sick. Like the Heat had
Yep.
a couple custom
Yep.
Vice City courts, and the jerseys were, for the most part, sick across the board.
Mm-hmm.
And now they're just overdoing it. A new one every year, too much, too
Too
much.
much.
way too much.
Absolutely. I'm
Yeah.
with you on.
But so as far as the in-season tournament goes, I don't have the schedule in front of me, but theoretically, all 30 teams are competing for it, so anyone has a chance at winning it. I still fully expect at least playoff team to be the one to win it. I don't think
Absolutely.
that there's going to be I don't think the Utah Jazz are gonna win it.
Probably.
I think the lowest we're gonna get is I don't know, like the Kings winning it wouldn't surprise me. They were
Right.
3 seed last year. I don't know if they'll be the 3 seed this year, so that's why I say low. But they're still a good team, and they're good enough that they could beat. I don't know. They could win a game against the Nuggets, followed by the next game beating, I don't know, someone from the East, I guess, the
Yeah.
Celtics randomly, and
Yeah.
the Kings in season tournament,
Yeah.
But I think it's going to be a good team. I
Mm-hmm.
think people are talking so much about it. I'll give you a second to talk about it, but I want to get this in. I think what we really need to wait for is Vegas. I think
Yep.
these in the regular season games, the idea is they're supposed to be a little more competitive. I think they're gonna be mostly L's because of the courts. I think the
Yeah.
courts are just gonna throw people off. Once we get to the Vegas tournament and it actually starts becoming, oh, it's 8 teams, and we see who the teams are, and we're like, oh my god, we get to watch the Lakers play the Suns, and if they
Mm-hmm.
win, they have to play the winner of the Nuggets or the who else is someone else good in the West?
Yeah.
Warriors. It's like,
Yeah.
oh wow, this is kind of cool. This is I think it could be fun. Maybe we get a championship between, I don't know, yeah, Celtics Nuggets. That's kind of crazy. You're like, oh, is this going to be the finals? I think
Preview.
that is when it'll have the chance to be cool, and that's when we'll see if it is cool or not. If it sucks, and the semifinals suck, and the championship the game turns into like a 30-point blowout, people might not like it. Then people
Right.
might be like, "Oh wow, all that for a blowout." But I mean, I haven't. You could say that about anything. You could say that about the Super Bowl. But
Right. Yeah.
so,
I think that my thing with the tournament after having it explained to me like what it's about, like how it works. I think that my thing with it is I just don't know if this is the NBA, like if this is the answer that the NBA is looking for with trying to make players play harder or like care more about the regular season or about regular season games. Like I just don't know if this is the answer. Um I again, we haven't seen the finals of it. We haven't seen it fully play out yet. So maybe it's really high, maybe it gets a lot of viewership, maybe people really like it. I just don't know if I foresee that happening. And I also don't really know if I foresee like it sticking, to be honest. I don't really know if I see like the next 10 years, 20 years, like every year people being super excited for November and being excited for the in-season tournament. I just don't know if I see that. It kind of feels gimmicky to me. The other thing, it's like what it's money, right? Is like what they're playing for. Like it's
hmm
bonuses basically. I think that might get maybe the players excited. Maybe I doesn't really. I to me it doesn't excite me. I don't care that some a bunch of rich basketball players are going to get more money or like the rich teams are going to get more money. It would be, I think, interesting if they could somehow, some way make it the reward something that's a little bit more tangible or something that like the fans could grab onto a little bit more. Um, it's a little tricky because you really don't. There's not like a lot of avenues that you could take with that as far as like a tangible reward that like everybody can get excited about. That like maybe could give like the team that won it some type of advantage later on in the season, but then that gets weird because any team can win this tournament, and then it's like if they don't even make the playoffs, obviously that's a whole thing. So it is, to me it just feels like something that they're trying to get the players to try to care more about the regular season. Whether or not that actually happens, I don't know. I don't know if it'll get great viewership. I have no idea yet. We'll have to see. To me, it
Hmm.
feels kind of gimmicky. It feels like it probably won't stick. That's just kind of how I've seen it so far. But I am open to the idea of it being really cool. It would be really, really cool if it does happen. We get to Vegas. Those last couple games are really hype, and all of a sudden everyone's like, this was a success. We should keep doing this every season. Like, that would be awesome. And I think that'd be really cool. It would be cool to have something like that to be excited about in the regular season, because to me, as a person who used to really like the NBA, kind of fell out of love with the NBA, and is now trying to get back into it. I think that my issue with the NBA was always watching a regular season game between two random teams that I don't care about in the NBA for me was nearly impossible. It's
Yeah.
it's
No, it makes
so
sense.
it's
Yeah.
so boring to me. It's feels like when you watch, it feels like halfway through the game, all the players are kind of gassed. It feels like they're not giving it their all, but it's like they play a lot of games every season. Basketball's a really physically demanding sport, so I get it, but it's just like it's not super entertaining. Just a random Tuesday night, you know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
In Denver or November. It's like I don't know if I'm tapped into that type of game. Whereas with other sports, the NFL, they only play like 18, or they only play 18 weeks or whatever, 17 weeks. So it's like every game matters, you know what I mean, to a point. So it's like even if you're watching two teams that you don't care about that much, it's still important. There's still stakes. I think that the MLB has a similar problem. They just play so many games that catching like a random game on a random night in the regular season is going to be kind of hard to get into if you're not super into the sport.
Hmm.
And I think that they did some things this year in the offseason in the MLB to try to like make the games more watchable, make them a little bit more digestible to people, and I think that largely that was pretty successful. So it would be cool to see something like that with the NBA. I don't know if this tournament is that, but I would be open to the idea of it, and that's kind of just how I feel about it in general.
Yeah. I think that the element of the idea that the players are going to care about more has gone a little blown out of proportion in my mind because, like, I just knew that. I mean, I could see that some of these games potentially being a little more competitive because they are baked into the regular season, but it's been so much of a mindset even before this tournament was ever a thing that like you play every game kind of the same. So it's kind of
Right,
hard. The players who play it like that, it's going to be hard for them to like, they're not going to turn it up extra because it's just like
right,
they're already turning it up for every game
right,
theoretically. But I think the idea is to try and get people to watch it more
right,
because then you can be like, okay, it's Tuesday, it's Friday. This game is not only a regular season game, it matters towards something that is soon. And I think that's what's being underlooked is like people want something tangible, and I think it's it's just unrealistic to think that like winning the 24th game of your NBA season in December, or like not even like winning your 20th game in the NBA season in December, and that just because it was a tournament game grants you a ticket to the playoffs. Like, I don't know. It just doesn't seem right. I feel like that's just too much. You're only a
right,
quarter of the way through the year, and you're like, this team's
right,
already in the playoffs. It's like, really? Everyone else still has, 60 more games left.
right.
But the best idea I had, which still people wouldn't be happy with this, but the best idea I personally saw was that the winning city gets the All-Star game the next year, which honestly is kind of cool
That's
because
a good idea. Yeah.
yeah, but again, that only affects the fans who actually live in that city. So
Right.
it's not
Right.
that tangible for people who are like for me, I'm a fan of Miami, but if Miami gets the
Right.
All-Star game, what does that do for me? I'm in the
Nothing for
Pacific Northwest. I'm about as far as I could be.
right.
But it's just hard. I don't think you can have the 20th game of the season matter so much that it grants a team ticket to playoffs or that it grants them, like some people said, oh, it should just automatically slot them 3 seeds higher wherever they finish. It's like, what? Like,
Yeah, it's
I,
it's
it's
hard.
a
It's hard.
tournament. I don't know. But at the same time, while I said I don't think it'll make players care more, the players are what will make it matter because if they care and if a team like the Bucks say we really want to go win this and they win it, and then also do well in the playoffs, like make the finals, then it's like maybe this NBA Cup or whatever it's called, the in-season tournament, the NBA Cup, maybe it does matter. Maybe it is a good thing to try and win it because the team that made the finals, even if they lost to the Nuggets or something, they won it. So
Mhm.
it's all a waiting game. I think so far it's been the marketing has been good. I like that casino commercial. I like all
Mhm.
the marketing for it. I
Yep.
don't like necessarily what's happened in practice. The first day of games was all right. I think the Thunder Warriors game was a pretty good game. Was that a tournament game? That was
I
Curry
believe.
throwing up the. So that was a really good game. But a couple others weren't as close. But I'm very excited for it. I know a lot of people aren't. I am currently very excited. I agree. I don't know if it'll be in the NBA in 10 years, but
Yeah.
it's hard to say. Right now, I would say probably not. But come December 4th, when it's done, or December 8th, maybe it'll be sick. So
Definitely. Definitely. Definitely hope that it does land. It would be really nice to see it land. Again, I just you obviously mentioned those kind of rewards, the ideas that people have had for like the winning team and stuff. The main thing for me is I just wish that it was something more than like a bonus for the team that won it. You know what I mean? I just wish that there was some other thing that they were playing for that could get the fans excited because to me as a fan, like let's say that I was like a huge fan of a team, like yeah, it's cool that my team won the in season tournament because only one team wins it. But like, I'm not gonna like jump out of my seat and be like, oh my god, like my team got paid some more money. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So
yeah, but I mean that's kind of what happens when they win a chip.
that is
They,
true.
they just get another bonus, and they.
That that is true.
So
It's
I
just
think I don't know. It's kind of hard. I don't really know
yeah,
what you could do for it that really affects the fans
yeah. It's
in a
it
way.
it's just one of those things though where it's like if you win a chip there is more to that than just the money. Obviously I know you know that, but
Hmm.
it's also like a legacy thing. It's like a you will be remembered forever for that. It's what
Yeah, you're not getting remembered. At least not right now. You're not getting remembered for winning the
exactly,
in-season tournament.
exactly. So I don't know, I would like to see it have
Remember when
some
Austin Reeves had 4 threes in the in-season championship? That was
else.
crazy. How'd
No
they do in
one's
the playoffs? I mean,
uh,
the in-season tournament though.
uh with that into yeah, see that's kind of what I'm saying. I just wish that there was a little something more to it, but again, let's wait until it finishes, and
Who do you
then
think's gonna win it? Before we end, who do you think's gonna win it? Give me a.
who do I think is gonna win it?
Who do you think is gonna win it?
Or who
Not
do I
who do you want to win it.
okay?
Who do
Who do
you
I think is gonna win
think
it?
is gonna win it?
I mean, I'm gonna go. Okay. I'm gonna go with the Bucks. I'm gonna go with the Bucks, the new look Bucks with Dame. I'm gonna go with the Bucks. I like the Bucks. I think that they're gonna be really good. Dame and Giannis. I'm gonna go with the Bucks. I think that honestly, there's a good chance that the Nuggets still win it, but I think
Yeah,
that
I'm
the
gonna
Bucks.
say Nuggets. I want the Lakers. I'm gonna say Nuggets.
I
Nuggets
think
are.
that
I think the Nuggets will win it.
I think the Nuggets have the best shot. Again, the Nuggets look insane, but it would be
Yeah,
cool.
all of the teams that are at the top of the stand or the top of the standings and aren't really fluky. Like Celtics could win it. Bucks could win it.
Absolutely.
Nuggets. Like I still Lakers. Their group. They could win it because their group is like 3 bad teams and them and the Suns.
Hmm.
Okay, I'm calling the Grizzlies a bad team, but they are currently a bad team.
They are
This has
currently.
been going a while, so we should probably get close to wrapping this up. But um, thank you for being here, Cam. We actually I always say, oh, this is going to be a shorter one, and then we just end up talking.
Then
But
they
that's
just
okay. That's
and then
okay.
everybody just starts yapping, dude.
And then everyone just starts yapping. But
God,
yeah, this was fun. We got through a lot of stuff. Again, I don't know how many points I got to as much as I just was more just like words flowing out of my
just
mouth.
yapping, just having a
Yeah,
yap.
just yapping. Yeah, just having a big old yap fest.
Yep,
But it was fun,
it was.
and I very much enjoyed it. Um, yeah, I'll definitely have you on again at some point, probably later on in the season. I'm going to keep this going the whole year. That is my
Oh yeah,
That is my goal. This is episode 3 now. So
let's go.
we made it through 3 of them.
There you go.
Yeah, well, again, thanks for being here. Thanks for listening or watching, everyone. We'll be back next time. Bye-bye.